Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're lifting the Ridgeline, doing some other mods as well. I'm gonna take you guys with me. Alright, let's go. Before we start, I'm gonna show you guys what tools we're gonna need. You need a lift kit, of course. I chose a Traxda one. I'm not sponsored, but I bought it at a good price. Flathead screwdriver, prying tool or a long flathead screwdriver, a magnet, some pliers, rubber hammer, 14 and 19mm wrench. You can use 24mm wrench as well, or 24mm socket with a 1/2 inch ratchet. Then we need 14, 19, 22 and 24mm sockets, an extension, 1/4 inch ratchet with 12mm socket, WD-40, some lubricant, very important, you need some light, and an impact gun. The truck is already jacked up, put some jack stands under it as well. Now we're just gonna spray all the bolts with some WD-40 so they loosen up very easily. So the 2 bolts, the lower shock mount, 12mm for the brake line, and then the 2 bolts for the stabilizer bar. I already did this yesterday as well, so I'm sure we're gonna loosen up very easily. Then we move up top. Take a flathead screwdriver and pry these boys out. So now we have these bolts here. That's number 1, that's number 2, and that's number 3. Just gonna spray them as well. And then now we're gonna take our 14mm socket with an extension, put it over it. Take the impact gun and loosen them up. Take a magnet to get the bolts out again. Now I can take the 12mm bolt from the brake line. And we take our pliers. Take these clips out. There we go. And now we're gonna move up to this bolt here. It's a 19mm. Just take the impact gun, shoot it loose. Next up are the 2 bolts on the lower side of the shock assembly. In a 24mm ratchet or wrench, and then the impact gun, and then you loosen it up. So before we take it off, just take a rag to protect the boot here. bolts out.
Your city's built on marble floors. Neon lights in the falling snow. Those nights back in
And now we're gonna carefully take the shock out. Move it over the ABS lines. And then we can take it out. So to remove this guy, 90mm again, it was a struggle. I didn't record it, but it was a struggle. But you can use a wrench and a T40 in here and then try and unlock it. But just make sure you use a lot of WD-40 so it loosens up very easy. What I tend to do as well when I have a small enough impact gun, try and put the impact gun in here and then put the socket on and then just shoot it loose. So in the kit we have a smaller size sway bar end. It's smaller because otherwise it may hit the lower control arm over here. We don't want that, so they supply a smaller one. So before you assemble it, don't forget to lube it up. And then we take our two 17mm wrenches. There we go. The easiest way to do this is to loosen up the other side as well, so you have some leverage. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. To assemble the space 14 millimeter. 24 millimeter. And then 22 millimeter. So that's loose. Yes. Now we just push this down. There we go. So this is loosened up because of the bushing. That's loose. You have to make sure that's loose, because otherwise you may crack it, you may damage it, and that's not worth it. So that's why we loosen up this bolt first. Now I can just take the impact gun, loosen up these 14 millimeter bolts, nuts up here, and then we can take the shock assembly out. There's two ways to assemble the strut to the spacer. First way is to assemble it on here and then put it onto the chassis, just like the front. Or the second way, and I prefer this way, is to assemble the spacer already to the chassis using the original hardware over here, here and here, and then you put the strut assembly back in. I found this is the easiest way, so that's the way I'm gonna go with. Just like always, before assembly, we just lube up the threads. Shit. We take our new nuts. And then we just slide these in. So now we can put the control arm back into place. Alright. And now we take the 19mm socket and then we move the camber bolt all the way that way, so we have a bit more clearance to put the bolts back in. So now we put a jack under the control arm. We jack the control arm up so we can put the hub assembly back in with ease. And now we can take the impact gun and tighten everything up. Right now is a good time to put the camber bolt back in the correct position. And to tighten. So if you have rubber like this suspension, you always have to tighten it under load, otherwise it will rip. So the 2-inch lift kit is on, powder coated wheels are on, the new tires are on. I'm gonna install my black roof rack, which I wrapped black myself before the truck went to the body shop. So now I'm gonna assemble it and let's see how it looks. So everything's assembled. I wanted to go outside to take some decent shots, but it started raining. Too bad. But I'm in a covered garage now, so I can show you guys what she looks like now. So yeah, brand new paint, Nighthawk Black Pearl, original color. The original wheels powder coated black, 17-inch. I wrapped some Toyo Open Country AT Plus on them. They don't rub, they don't wobble. I don't have any wobble from the lift kit either, so I'm pretty happy. Blacked out roof rack. I didn't install the crossbars because they produce a lot of wind noise. I love how she came out. I'm pretty happy. So not everything is installed yet. Don't have the inner fender guards yet. They still have to arrive. They're at customs. And after that I can install the mud flaps as well. So yeah, she looks good for a daily. Well, daily workhorse to pull the trailer with my race car on top. So that's it for today. Hope you liked the video. If you do, thumbs up. And yeah, hope to see you next time. Bye.